So how light behaves like a wave and a particle at the same time. Anyway, let's get back to our 10th question, and I'm going to tell you what we are going to study in this 10th question, light chapter. So we are only going to study about how light behaves in different environments. So this behavior of light, we can call it as phenomenon. What are the things light can do? So this 10th chapter, as you can see, what is the name of this chapter? It says reflection and refraction. So these are the two phenomena which you are going to learn related to light in this 10th chapter. And then after that, you have one more chapter, which is again related to light. Which is human eye and colorful world. In this chapter also, you will learn a few phenomena, which is dispersion of light. I think everybody knows about rainbows, right? Light gets dispersed into 7 colors when it passes through a prism. So this third phenomenon, dispersion of light, you will study in the 11th chapter. Okay. And there is another thing called scattering of light. That is also something you will study as scattering of light. What happens when the light gets scattered in the atmosphere? In the 11th chapter, you will learn why the sky is blue color, why the color of the sun changes during the sunset and sunrise. During afternoons, the sun will be very bright yellow, whitish kind of thing. But during early mornings and evenings, when the sun is rising and when the sun is setting, that time it looks like a orange red. Why that happens? So those things we are going to learn in these 2 chapters related to light. Okay. So anyway, we'll start with the first one. So let me get rid of this. So anybody knows what is reflection?
Bouncing back of light when it strikes a polished surface like mirror.
Yes, excellent. Very good. So light can do a few things light can do reflect. This phenomenon we call it as a reflection. What do you know about a refraction? Anybody knows what is a refraction? So like Nitya, right? You answered this, right, Nitya?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I confuse the sound. Like Kavya and Nitya, you sound a little bit similar to me. Okay. So reflection. What did you say? Repeat again.
Sir?
Yes, repeat. What did you say for light reflection?
Bouncing back of light when it strikes a polished surface like mirror.
So bouncing back from polished surfaces. Polished surface means something very shiny.
Mirror, sir.
So it could be a mirror or any other shiny surface, like a metal which is very well polished. Could be anything. Okay, any shiny surface, the light gets reflected or bounces back. So how it behaves in front of different things, we will study about that. Of course, this is about mirrors. We will be studying about mirrors in this reflection. Then, anybody knows what is refraction?
When light passes through something and changes its direction, like that, sir.
It's very good. So again, when the light passes through something like a transparent medium, like glass or water or any other liquid for that matter, something transparent, how light behaves when it passes through a transparent medium. Basically, the light bends, so we can call it as bending of light when it passes through. transparent medium?
Sir, only in transparent, sir.
So if it is not transparent, if it is translucent also, light will bend. But you are not going to study about translucent mediums. That's why I'm calling it as transparent medium, which is where the refraction happens to the maximum. Like if you take a glass surface, which is very clear, so that is a transparent medium. No? Light will come, it will bend over here, and then pass through it. But if you take some glass which is fully colored, opaque, do you think light will pass through it? No, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
So opaque is totally out of picture, but you might think of translucent medium. You know, everybody knows about transparent, translucent, and opaque mediums, right? You know that?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So transparent means light will pass through completely. Translucent means a small portion of light will pass through. Some of it will get absorbed inside, and then opaque means nothing will pass through. No light passes through opaque medium. So of course, for refraction, you're going to study for transparent mediums. Like mostly you'll be studying about light passing through glass slab or lenses. Lenses, these are basically made up of glasses only, no? The same thing. Okay. That is what is your refraction. Like I said, in the other chapter, you will be studying about dispersion also. Anybody knows what is dispersion of light? No? Nobody has heard of VIBGYOR or VIBGYOR, whatever you call it. The light gets split up into 7 colors. The white light from sun would split up into 7 colors when it passes through a prism. So we can say that splitting up of light into 7. What are those 7 colors? BIB, GYO, R. Everybody knows that.
VIBGYOR.
Yes. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. When the light passes through a prism. So that is your dispersion. And one more phenomenon I said, scattering of light. Anyone knows what is scattering of light? You have studied a little bit about this in your 9th standard also, I think. Or a previous classes, 8th standard something. Tyndall effect or something. You have studied about it, right? No? Okay, do you people remember some experiment where you put some water in a jar and you had some suspended particles in it, either sand or something like chalk dust or something, and then you made light pass through a torch or something. When you do that, you are able to see the light. The light becomes visible. No? Is this?
Yes, sir.
So Tyndall effect, that is scattering of light. But anyway, we will get to all those things later. In this chapter, we are going to study about reflection and refraction. And first, we will start with reflection. So first topic will be reflection. And whenever we talk about reflection, of course, we will be studying reflection not with the walls, of course, light not bouncing off the walls, but from the mirrors, right? So what kind of mirrors do you know of? What types of mirrors you are aware of? What, nobody knows any mirrors? You have studied this in your 8th class, 9th class?
Concave, plane mirror and convex mirror.
Yes. So first,
Sir, they are not lenses.
lenses are also concave and convex, but mirrors are also concave and convex. Both of them can be concave. Concave is basically a shape or a structure. If you have a shape like this, where you can go inside, like this is a concave structure. Okay. Now a mirror can be shaped into this thing. Even a lens can be shaped like this. So concave can be a mirror or a lens both. Okay. So you have studied about plane mirrors, concave mirrors also. You studied about it, concave mirrors, like something like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, with the help of spoons, sir.
Yes.
Front side, back side.
Back of the spoon would be concave and convex. But we will be studying about this in more detail, not just with spoons. Okay. So concave mirror and the one is convex mirror. So this plane mirror, this is a part, something which you have studied in your earlier classes, but you need to be aware of what happens in plane mirrors also. Okay. Sometimes question can be related to this plane mirror also in 10th standard. I've seen some questions which are related to plane mirrors, but mostly we have to study concave and convex in this 10th class. Since plane mirrors you need to be aware of, I'm going to start a little bit of introduction of plane mirrors. What does a plane mirror look like? It will be just plain flat surface. When you draw in a paper like this, how do you draw it? Normally you draw a straight line like this and you shade or color one of the sides. I have colored this side, means this is not the shiny surface. This opposite side will be the shiny. So if you put a candle over here, you will be able to see the reflection of the candle in the mirror. So do you people, how much do you people know about plane mirrors, guys? I need to understand that so that I know how much detail I need to go in for you people. Do you know how images are formed in plane mirrors?
Virtually erect.
Virtual and erect.
Yes. Images formed in plane mirrors are always virtual and erect.
Sir, inverse also, sir.
There is a lateral inversion, yes. They are laterally inverted. Means your left hand will appear like a right hand. Correct? When you stand in front of the mirror,
Yes, sir.
what you think is your left hand will seem like a right hand in the mirror. Lateral inversion, not the upright inverted. It's not inverted upside down, it is inverted laterally, sideways. In simple words, we can say flipped sideways. Okay, what else? What about the distance of the image? Where is the image formed normally? Is it in front of the mirror?
Behind the mirror.
Yes, image is always formed behind the mirror. And how far? Let's say if this object is 30 centimeters in front of the mirror, image, where do you think the image will be? Exactly same distance behind the mirror. Image of the object is exactly at the same distance behind the mirror. And does everyone understand the word virtual and erect? I know some of you were there in the class when I taught this in the previous class, but some of you were not there. So who all understands this? Erect? What does it mean to say that it is virtual? What is erect? No one? Okay, that's good.
So what you ask now, sir?
I'm asking, do you people know the word virtual and erect? what it means. Do you people understand?
Virtual means not real, sir.
Yes, not real. Means we cannot put it on a screen. Good. What about erect? See, the image of this candle is same as it is upside up, no? It's not ulta. But in some mirrors, when you keep the candle like this, the image may be upside down. The fire of the candle will be showing downward. So this will be inverted image. So opposite of inverted, the normal straight image, that is what we call it as erect image. Okay. Okay. So, okay, one more thing about plane mirrors. When you were studying in your earlier classes, you would have studied about the law of reflection. So this is very, very important. And this same law of reflection is applicable for the concave and convex mirrors also, or any kind of reflecting surface. So laws of reflection. Anyone knows what are the laws of reflection?
Reflection is equal to
Say that again.
Angle of reflection is equal to angle of incidence.
Very good.
loss of reflection is equal to loss of refraction.
No, they are similar, but they are not equal. Reflection and refraction, both of them have laws, but they will be slightly different. Okay, but they have some certain similarities also. So, what are the laws of reflection? Whenever light bounces off some surface, let's say this is a mirror, and this is your incident light. Incident light means the incoming light, the light which is coming to the surface. So, whenever light comes to the surface, the point where the impact happens, where the light hits the surface, at that place we can draw a normal. Normal means always perpendicular to the surface. Okay. When you draw the normal, the angle made by the incident light, let's call it as the incident light. Angle made by the incident light with the normal, this angle, whatever it is.
Sir, this we have learned in maths, sir, one problem last week.
Yes. So this incident light makes an angle with the normal. This angle I is called the angle of incidence. What do we call it? Angle of incidence. And of course, if a light has come to the shiny surface, it will get reflected back, it will bounce back. Where should it bounce back? Something like this or like this? At what angle it should bounce back? It will bounce back exactly at the same angle with which it came. So if it came with an angle I, we call it as angle of incidence, it will get reflected with the angle R, which we call as angle of reflection. Okay. Reflected light, that is your, this light is your reflected light. So what is happening here? Let me just explain that a little bit. What is happening? Light came like this. This is the incident light. And then it was at an angle I with the normal. So it will get reflected back at an angle R in such a way that angle I is equal to angle R. Okay. Angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. is your first law. This law you can see it in your NCERT book also. Over here. So you can underline it, mark it, whatever. Remember, the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. And what's the second law? The incident ray, the normal, and the mirror at the point of normal to the mirror at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray. All of them lie in the same plane. So this needs a little bit explaining if you don't already know it. So I'll explain that second point. Before that, first of all, tell me guys, everyone understands this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Incidence is like equal to angle of reflection. So let's say I give you an example, simple example. Let's say this is a shiny surface or a mirror. First, we have to draw the normal, and then there has to be an angle of incident ray. So this is your incident ray. You have to tell me what is the angle of reflection here. What is the angle of reflection in this?
60 degrees.
Everyone agrees? Is it 60 degree?
40 degrees, sir.
40?
60, sir. 60.
Okay. 60 guys, everyone agrees? I have written here 30.
30.
So is it 30 or is it 60? Which one is right?
60, sir.
Why? Why is it 60?
Sir, 90 minus 30, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Because what did I tell you? Angle of incidence is not with the surface, not this angle over here. You need to be careful with this, okay? It's always with the normal. So if this angle is 30, we know that this angle has to be 60. So our angle of incidence is actually 60. So reflection also has to be 60. We know that I is equal to 90 minus 30. So everyone is okay with that?
Yes, sir.
The direction of the arrow will tell you whether it's which one is the incident ray and which one is the reflected ray. Remember the name also, incident ray, reflected ray, and there's a name for this point also. Anyone knows what is the name for this point? What is it called?
Normal, sir.
No, normal is this line, the perpendicular line. This line is called normal. Okay. That red dotted line, that is your normal. What is this point? It's called the point of incidence. Where the incident light comes, that's your point of incidence. Okay. This normal 90-degree line you can draw anywhere, but you have to draw. Where do you have to draw it? You have to draw it at the point of incidence. And then you have to check what is the angle made by this normal with the incident ray. That becomes our angle of incidence, and that will always be equal to the angle of reflection. reflection. So think of light as a blind person. It doesn't know anything else. The moment it hits any surface, it has just one, think of some kind of set square. Just takes the thing, measures the angle, and bounces back at the same angle, where however it came. All right, so I think it's a fairly simple idea. You should understand angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So that was your first law. Okay. Now let's look at the second law of reflection. Just the statement alone and then see. Okay, so read this second law of reflection and tell me what do you understand from this? There are three things over here in this second law. What is that? First one is the incident ray. Everybody knows what they're talking about. Incident ray means the one which is bouncing at the surface, coming to the surface, incident ray. Then the normal to the mirror at the point of incidence. So many words, but what are they talking about? The normal at the point of incidence. Means which line? The perpendicular line at the point of incidence. So they are talking about first this one, then the normal. What else? Incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray, of course. Of course, we have to talk about these three things, the reflected ray. What are they saying about these three things, these three lines? All lie in the same plane. Now, how many of you understand what does it mean to lie in the same plane?
On
Sir,
the
all
same
the points lie on mirror, sir.
on a same line.
They are not on the, I mean, see, these are, but all these things are actually coming from in front of the mirror. No? Mirror is like this. So they are not in the plane of the mirror. So do you understand the concept of a plane, first of all? The XY plane. So this is an infinite rectangular plane you can imagine. Goes both sides, up and down, left and right, infinitely. So if you draw lines on it, the incident ray, the normal, and the reflected, all of them will be in the same plane. It's not like, suppose this plane I'm talking about is the screen of your mobile or laptop, whatever you're looking at from. So if this is the plane, your screen is a plane, means if the incident light is coming in this plane, through the screen, the normal will also be on the screen, and this will also be passing through the screen only. It's not like it will come out of the screen towards you. Does that make any sense? No. Okay, let me explain it again. See here, when I say that angle of incident, why are they telling all that so much detail, confusing words? Because see, when you look at things in 3 dimensions, I'm drawing a 2D figure, but try to imagine 3D. Okay, you know that mirror is going to be a 3D thing, right? So mirror will be a 3D mirror. So let me try to simulate 3D a little bit with my drawing skills. Let's say the light is coming at this point over here. Okay, so this is your normal. I'm saying that the light is coming in this plane, and let's say this angle is 30 degrees. Now now I want you all to imagine in how many ways same 30-degree can be drawn on the opposite side. How many ways? Remember, it's just a 3D. It's 3D, not just 2D, okay? So same 30-degree can be drawn in so many places, right? Everywhere around this, I can draw 30-degree angle.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reflected ray could have gone anywhere in same 30-degree. But what they're saying, they all have to be within the same plane. Means if you draw a rectangle, imaginary rectangle, or put a piece of paper, think of it like this, then if this incident light is coming through this sheet of imaginary rectangular paper, the reflected ray also has to be on the same paper with a 30-degree angle. It will not come out of the paper, or it will not go inside that plane. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so incident ray, normal, and reflected ray all have to be within the same plane. They cannot be in different planes. Think of it like a cricket ball. If light was a cricket ball, it will always go straight. It will not swing left or right. It will be in the same plane. In the same plane you throw the ball, it will go in the same straight line. Of course, with the same 30-degree angle, or in same incident angle and reflected angle, I and R. Okay. So you need to remember the wordings of these two laws. This is important. So make sure you write it down and remember this. Okay. So I will rewrite those two and make sure that you people remember it. So let's stop here. Tomorrow we will actually start going into the spherical mirrors, which is the concave and convex mirrors. How light behaves in front of them, what they are basically, why are we calling them concave and convex, and what does the sphere has to do with all of them. They're calling them as spherical mirrors. So anybody knows why are we calling them spherical mirrors? What does sphere have to do with mirrors? No? Okay, think about it. I'll explain this in the next class tomorrow. Okay. Anybody has any questions from what we discussed today?